Two problems, that's a dilemma. Many problems, that's Polylemma. We're addressing the challenges of social media advertising. We do this completely in public, where we ideate, experiment, and analyze. Join us in the learning journey if you too are interested in learning through action.
All right. Hi everyone. So today we're going to be setting up the second campaign of the Facebook advertising course. The second campaign is going to be focused on how does a narrow audience versus a broad audience work, right? So in the first one, we're going to be targeting, I think, around 10-ish million people, maybe slightly more than that. And in the second one, we'll be targeting, we'll try and get it to around 500,000 to a million, right? We'll see how that works out when we play around with the targeting settings, and I'll be showing you that entire process. Right, so let's start. So the first thing to do is obviously create. And this is something that I wasn't able to show last time. I just showed you how we ran it. This time I'm going to take you through the whole creation process as well. So the first thing to do is to figure out, okay, what objective do I want for my campaign? By the way, I'm really sorry about the noise in the background, but yeah, these are just some of the challenges we have with recording right now. Okay, so what is the objective that we want for our campaign? So in this case, what we're going to do again is we're going to promote our channel on YouTube. Instead of taking you to a landing page like we did last time, we're going to actually take you to the video for how to set up the campaign, the first campaign. So we want to promote that video, which is also currently the latest video out. Very soon the results video of the first campaign will also be coming out. It will already be out by the time you see this video, so do check that out if you haven't yet. So I'm going to set it to traffic because I just want as many people to go and see it as possible. And then the next thing to do is to name your campaign. So I'm just going to call this test campaign 2. And I'm going to call this broad ad. So it's very clear to me as to what we were testing in this campaign later on. All right, just going to click continue now. All right, so this is not a special ad category. Buying type option is perfect. Campaign objective is set as traffic. A/B testing, again, we'll do this in a later on campaign. For now, I'm just going to create the first campaign, duplicate it, and then change the target audience. All right, so that's basically all we have to do on this tab. So let's go to the new ad set. All right, so we can give this ad set a name. So I'm just going to call this the broad target. All right, where do we want traffic? Yes, to the website, which will actually be on YouTube. Dynamic creative, no, we only have one element for this. We do not have an offer, we're just taking people to our video. The budget, I'm going to set it as $80, and I'm going to start the campaign. I'm just going to set it as sometime later today, so I think around 5 o'clock should do. Right, I will set an end date as well. So that'll be 3 days from today. So that's 31st, 1st, 2nd. So let's set it at the 2nd at 5 p.m. as well. I think that should be fine. All right, so we've set the end date. All right, now to define the audience. So I'm actually just gonna hit. Alright, so actually that's fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to restrict the age range. So last time we used the age of 18 to 50. But after running the first campaign, one of the results we got was the targeting the younger kind of generation. 18 to 25 was the most expensive, and they also gave us the least conversions, right? So combining that data, information from that data, as well as what we understand about the product, we figured that, okay, maybe it's not that this kind of a course will be most beneficial to somebody actually running ad campaigns and stuff like that. So perhaps we can exclude the students, and anyways they are quite expensive to target, and not entirely sure why that is. Might be very well because a lot of people are targeting them, or there's certainly a lot of them, so it must be that, or that they're very unlikely to actually click on an ad. So it might be some combination of those reasons. So regardless, because of that, we're gonna set the bottom age to 22 this time. and we think that that'll just be people basically who just graduated college and then might actually find this course useful, right? So just narrow it down a little bit more. The top age group, again, I'm just going to set it to 50, and as we saw last time as well, this doesn't reduce the reach too much. People above the age of 50 anyway is unlikely to find this too helpful. Genders, again, going to keep both. Detailed targeting, right? So now let's set that up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say people who are interested in e-commerce. Last time we used entrepreneurship, and I think this is fairly similar field to that. So it's just a slightly smaller group. And I think it's actually kind of better for us because entrepreneurship could be anything, but e-commerce very specifically limits it to people who are conducting some sort of economic activity online, and that is really who would be looking to maybe run an online business as well. Second, we're going to look for people who are interested in online advertising. Actually, instead of online, I'm going to use social media advertising because I think that is more specific what we're doing. As it turns out, both those types of advertising have fairly similar market sizes. So yeah, just gonna find that. Yeah, so I'm gonna put that in, and you can see our audience definition's gone down to something like 69 million. So it's still really big, really big. Just want to quickly check something. Social media, 22 to 50. Right. Okay, I see what's happened here. So by mistake, I've added it as exclude. So instead, I want to narrow it as social media. There we go. I'm just trying to remove. Alright, so now that gives us a reach of about 15 million people, which is closer to what we want. Since this is the broad ad, I'm just going to leave that there, and then when we go to the narrow ad, I'll just show you how we're going to narrow that down further. So 15 million is, it's slightly larger than we used last time, about seven times larger, but I think that's okay. I think that something like this, there are perhaps a lot of people who could use it, and perhaps just like opening up the audience might just give Facebook some more room to optimize it for other groups. And we'll see, maybe there were some people we were missing out because of the experimentation and simulation stuff, and perhaps the definition of how Facebook groups it as you have an interest in experimental simulation might be different from kind of what we're imagining it as. So just going to broaden this one up and see how that affects the results. And for the second one, again, like I mentioned, we'll narrow it and we'll see maybe if being more specific is ideal. As I mentioned, you want to kind of keep this between 1 and 5 interests. Any more than that, and you're really just stretching it a little too thin. All right, English as the language. Again, that didn't really affect the results at all, but you know. As for the placements, I'm going to go for manual placements, and I'm just going to remove everything. And one of the things that some have suggested is that this time we add stories as well. So we're just going to run it on stories as well, and we'll just see how that performs. So this time we're going to be running our ads on Facebook newsfeed, Instagram feed, as well as Instagram stories and Facebook stories. All right, so that's pretty good. Optimization for ad delivery, right? So again, we have 4 options here: landing page views, link clicks, impressions, and daily unique reach. I'm actually happy for my ad to be shown a couple of times to people, so I don't really want the daily unique reach. I don't want it to show to everyone. I just want to show it to people who specifically fit within my target and people who are more likely to perhaps click through. I do think in marketing there's a rule that like you need to show something to someone 7 times for them to convert. I do think that online it might be slightly lower than that, and we'll figure that out as well as we go. But for right now, I'm just going to reduce the daily unique reach. At least I'm going to set that as the target. Impressions again is just how many times we want people to see our ad, and I think that's pretty good. But I'd rather optimize it for link clicks because I want to show it specifically to those people who are likely to click on the link. Landing page views, I think if somebody's willing to click on the link, and we'll make it very explicit that it's going to YouTube, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty sure they're likely to go and check out the video at that point. So I'm happy with link clicks. You can put in optional cost control. We're not going to put that in right now. Maybe that's something you can do on yours, and maybe we'll play around with this feature later on. Yep. Alright, so let's go set up the ad. Alright, so I'm just going to call this ad 2. So one of the things we noticed, again, we've created another video ad for this, and one of the things we kind of noticed was that the video ad that we created last time was kind of performing below average in the bottom 35% group. It still did a lot better than the graphic ad, which kind of performed in a more average group. But regardless, we've tried to remake our video ad and try and make it better. We've also got Sambhav in front of the camera, and I do think he has kind of a better camera presence. So hopefully this ad performs better than the last one. It would be cool if it did. Alright, so just gonna add video, and I'm gonna upload it from my computer. Alright, so that's uploading now. So while it's uploading, I'm just gonna add the primary text. So as I mentioned last time, I've already written this down, and I'll just talk about the format once more, just in case anyone missed it. This is the first time you're following us. So there is a structure I kind of like to follow with the primary text I add to the videos. That being that the first line is kind of like an attention grabber. So it's something that's supposed to, just catch people's attention. The second line is to explain, hey, what is it that we're doing once you grab someone's attention. The third line should explain why they should why they should buy your product, or why they should check out whatever it is that you're selling or advertising. And the last link is kind of like a call to action. And again, if you can create some sort of scarcity there, then that's really great. Okay, so it's just processing that. I'm not going to put a headline in description again this time. For website URL, I'm just going to put the link to the YouTube video. Alright, so the website URL is done, and for the display link, I'm actually going to show it as youtube.com/polylemma. So they have somewhat of an idea of how that's going to work, right? And for the call to action, I believe there's one that really works well for us, which is watch more. And I think they can then, I think that makes it pretty apparent that they're going to be watching one of our videos. Languages don't really care. I'm just going to quickly check out if the ad works as intended, and I think this is usually good practice for yourself as well, just to make sure that whatever ad you're running kind of is placed and is working as you want it, and if not, you can always edit it, so that's the good thing.
Are you struggling with Facebook advertising?
Yes. Right, so that looks pretty good to me. We don't have any website events and stuff like that right now, so that looks really good. So the ad is pretty much set up, and I am happy to publish it, and it is now publishing. Right, so I think I've checked everything. The only thing now left to do is to create a copy of this ad and narrow the audience, right? So let's just quickly do that. So I'm just gonna close this, and as you can see, the ad is now in review, so Facebook will be reviewing it. So just gonna go to the campaign. Just gonna edit. Sorry, why did I click edit? I meant to say duplicate. And yes, I'm just gonna call this narrow ad. And as you saw while I was doing that, there was the option to do an A/B test. In this case, we're just gonna do it ourselves, but it should work out really well. So just gonna go to this. I'm gonna change this to narrow as well. And I am going to Alright, so This is cool. Like this draft. I think works very well for us. Now, I'm just gonna edit this. So just narrow this further. And I'm gonna say that the kind of people that I'm looking for should also either have a Facebook business manager account. So that means they've already maybe set up and are ready to do the advertising, or are small business owners, in which case they probably have somebody else doing it for them if they're not doing it themselves, right? So both those groups as well. Just gonna narrow it a little further. So business manager, Facebook business manager. Yeah, so just gonna choose business page admins. Okay. So these people are running ads for their own campaigns, right? And I'm also gonna add small business owners. And that's the behavior one, where through the digital activity it's clear. So that gives us a potential reach of about 7.1 million. So it's about a 20th of the size, and it's about just under half, maybe 30% of the size of the audience we ran last time. So we'll see which kind of one works better. Narrowing it too much down under 710,000, we found that actually Facebook does give you a warning that, hey, you might want to increase it, and when you're running this yourself, you'll see if you get that alert that maybe then you should increase it. But anyway, so I think the comparison of about 15 million to 710,000 should be quite stark, and it should give us some good insight into whether or not narrowing it down by Facebook Business Manager as well as a small business owner is the right move. And if not, then that's obviously something that we'll remove in the next one, and then maybe try and target down a more specific, more specific audience next time. Alright, so just gonna check the ad one last time, just make sure it's working alright. Alright, it looks pretty good to me. And you can see that's good. So I'm going to publish this as well. Awesome. So I am done publishing both. Stay tuned for next time.